Hey, yo, welcome to an episode of What's the Meta. On this episode, we're going to be looking at meta for Star Citizen. It has been absolutely chaos to try to figure out what's going on. A lot of orgs try to hide their setups and different things that are going on with components, and that's a big part of this. Is you're going to be surprised what's going on with components. It's not what you thought. With that said, I'll be making a shift to full-time content creation, so you just clicking on this video has already helped out a significant amount. So I just want to say right off the start, thank you very much, and let's subscribe for the sweat to come. No way. No way. What happened there? Who won that? Who won that? What was that? Jumping right in, let's look at hardware. So a lot of people think you need sticks in Star Citizen to do very well. However, that is not the case. I really wish I took the time to learn mouse and keyboard first, because the accuracy from a mouse is way better. A lot of pro players will use mouse and keyboard, or mouse and then left hand stick. And I really highly suggest learning your mouse and keyboard setup before jumping into sticks, because then you're gonna figure out binds once you do have your sticks as well. So don't feel pressured to jump in and buy sticks right away. I really wish I took more time to learn mouse and keyboard before jumping on sticks. It helps significantly with keybinds. That brings us to our mandatory part, head tracking. I cannot live without head tracking. It adds so much more awareness and gives you the ability to track your opponent. CRG tried to implement look ahead, which does not work as well as head tracking. The look ahead is almost more distracting than it is effective. So picking up one of the three options that I'll be linking down below, there's Toby head tracking, there's TrackIR is what I use, and it's incredible. I love it so much. And then there's also available option for webcam. So if you have a webcam like this, you can set it up. I'll be having links down below for all three options, but it is mandatory. Honestly, it's going to be game changing for you. If I load Star Citizen without head tracking, feels like a totally terrible experience. The ability to look around and see your environment just feels so organic. It's definitely a must purchase once you have the funds for it. Don't spend too much on ships. You don't want that. You want some head tracking. That is going to help you way more than a ship will, or any stick or anything. So check down the links below. I will have three options there. Webcam is definitely the most affordable, then Toby, and then TrackIR is a little bit more pricey, however, a little more accurate than Toby. So check those out and see which fits best for you. So this meta, I really want to pick a ship and then see what works around it. I didn't want to go through every single ship, because regardless of people's favorites and everything, there always typically is one ship in combat that is most diverse and can take on either a large target, medium target, small target, you name it, it could do it all. So I began actually with the Arrow, since I haven't been playing since Master Modes became a thing. I started off with the Arrow, did a stock loadout of Panthers, and then I quickly found out that against the F7As and the Gladiuses, sure, it did fine, with my a bit of above average combat skills. However, it was not hitting the same way as either the F7A or the Gladius. And I noticed a lot of these Gladius pilots out there were typically pretty insane. So I jumped on the bandwagon so hard. I was literally I need that. I'm jumping to my Gladius. And let me tell you, the experience I had from the Gladius, I put it on all stock A components and then my Panthers, and I was instantly doing better than I was with the Arrow. And so for this guide, I'm going to be focusing on the Gladius and how I evolved the meta. So I needed to start playing a lot more to see what people were using. Typically, this is the best way to find out quickly what's the meta, or if someone's using something that's not typically talked about on a YouTube video, you could jump in game that's kind of saturated somewhere like Arena Commander, and then see what the best person in the leaderboard, whoever's on top of the list, is using. And this goes for the verse as well. I quickly found out that it was missiles. Missiles are so broken right now with their tiny indicator. And I'm getting missiles again, and I can't shake it. And I lost a fucking engine. And then also they don't have a noise anymore. I think I heard it 1% or 10% of the time. And then on top of that, I don't know if that's me from the past, remembering that weird ticking annoying sound, or if the game's actually playing it. It's so absent. It feels like such an absent sound indicator. So missiles are king. And to keep this guide from getting boring and minute and boring and lame. I said boring twice, but we're gonna avoid missiles. If you want to be a king of missiles, just equip task force ones and start missiling everybody. And I'm pretty sure refill's pretty cheap right now in the verse too. So complete meta, pick a ship with great missile capabilities and then missile the shit out of everybody. With the missile Andes out of the way, let's talk about weapons. So I found 3 weapons that are going to be typically your best bet for 3 different scenarios. First, let's get PvE out of the way. So with PvE, you could grab yourself some Attritions. Attritions do have a slower fire rate than something like the Panther Repeaters we're going to talk about next. However, they hit significantly harder. This will allow you to take out bigger targets in a PvE situation. And then my favorite weapons in the verse and in Arena Commander, Panthers. Panthers are always just been very versatile and default. You could get them off of like just about any ship. And they're going to be so easy to obtain and destroy your targets with. The high fire rate allows you to smack people. Like you're just going to constantly be putting shots onto somebody, which makes it so viable for each situation you're in. I would even recommend these over the Attritions, maybe for even PvE, because you're going to take a little longer to kill the target, but they're going to be more reliable once in the verse since there's constant PvP going on right now. So I would grab Panthers if this last option's not available for you. And that brings us on to NDBs. And I have never, ever used NDBs until creating this video. And let me tell you, they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. The way they shoot, like the little baby blue or whatever it is immaculate. It just makes hitting people that much prettier. And then the fire rate on them is like just between the Panthers and the Attritions. And then on top of that, if you have your components maxed out, which I'll show you in the next section, you could just keep shooting. Like I never feel like I'm running out of ammo with the NDBs. Right now, you can't grab them in the verse, so you're gonna need your org to grab them for you, or if yourself to get into the executive hangar and grab NDBs. That's the only way you get them in the verse right now, but you could lock them in an Arena Commander and just start having fun with them today. NDBs are your way to go. And I'm surprised I haven't seen more people using them, because I went from like getting an average of 8 kills in Arena Commander with Panther Repeaters. And then when I swapped over to NDBs, I hit a game of like 17 and there was a game of like 28 kills I got. And you just shred people so well with NDBs. So pick up the NDBs. With my newfound love of NDBs out of the way, let's talk about components. So you think grabbing every grade A military component out there and sticking them on your ship would make you do the best? Not anymore. That is not how components work anymore. Let's take shields, for example. So you'd grab the FR66 grade A military component, slap it on your ship, and you're like, I've got the best shields in the game, baby. I'm ready to spank some booty. That's not the meta anymore. It does not work that way. This has been the most surprising part of learning the meta is components. Components work differently. Since CIG is constantly developing these systems and developing and not developing and lackluster things happening and not happening, they forgot a key component that makes grade A components viable, and that's the overall health on the component. So when you're strapping on a grade A component, it's the overall health. And right now, you can't target components directly and destroy that component. So the overall health is not going to matter as much. I found this all out by a buddy of mine named Sofa King that broke down a website called SP Viewer. I'll have a link down in the description below so you can take a look at the components individually for yourselves. However, strapping on the grade A components is not going to be the best. So while we're together, let me break this down, what it looks like on the website, so you have an easier time to look at it for yourself. So we'll go over to our Aegis Gladius and then check out, let's do shields first. Like I mentioned before, our grade A component is the FR66. So grade A military component has a health pool. So this health pool means when your shields get hit, when it goes to 0. So it could take 1,800 points before it's at 0. And so that's quite a bit. However, if you look at the health, this is the reason why it's a grade A component. So the overall health of the component, how much the component itself can take before depleting and getting destroyed, is 820, which you'll see here is significantly compared to the component that we're going to choose to be our meta choice right now. and that will be going over to the grade B component, Jaggeth. So right now the Jaggeth has an overall health pool at 2200, which is 400 more hit points than our grade A component, and it's only a B competition, not even military. It's competition shield. And the reason why, though, it's a grade B is because it only has 270 overall health to that component. But CRG hasn't implemented the health to a component yet. So this is not going to affect you, right? Like, this component's not going to be getting hit. So you want to take the competition B over the grade A. And while it's a thing, we need to, well, not exploit it because it's part of the mechanics. So we want to take advantage of the current situation and be rocking the competition B component over just the grade A component. So now that you've seen like the basic flow of this website, you're going to be able to go in and dig deeper onto power plants, like coolers, etc. All that you need. SP Viewer is going to be a great tool moving forward for you, and I'm glad that Sofa King showed me this. Now I have the ability myself to come in here, further patches, and then check the new metas out for myself. So special thanks to Sofa King for showing me that. And with this part of the way, I'd like to move forward to showing you what I rocked on my Gladius to be getting the sick footage that's been playing in the background. So our meta build is going to be the Jaggeth shields that we talked about previously, a Lumicore for your power plant, and then Snowblind for your coolers. Snowblinds have always typically been meta as well, so there's not much of a change there. Then since I'm in Arena Commander right now, my NDBs equipped it along with the gimbal mounts that every ship comes standard with, and I actually unequipped all my missile racks because I just like the less weight on it for Arena Commander. I'm typically never missiling people in Arena Commander. However, if we were in the verse, I would have my Task Force ones obviously on there because they're broken and amazing. And so that's our basic build for our meta Gladius. Finding the meta for Star Citizen has not been easy. A lot of orgs like to hide the information that they find out to get the upper advantage on other orgs and other players. And top of that, the cycle for Star Citizen is constantly changing with the development. So watching any videos are predated typically, and they're not relevant to the current cycle. And then going on something like Reddit or Spectrum is just a cesspool of disappointment and despair. So digging through that seems like a maniacal mess of sadness. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Avoid those for any kind of meta changes, and you're going to get a lot of people that are more emotionally invested rather than like logically invested. Regardless, the meta finding for this video has been absolutely fun. I actually woke up early today just to jump on Arena Commander to do more combat. I actually fell in love with this flight model, not so much as the past. I gotta be safe on that one. I fell in love with the combat in Star Citizen again, and it's highly enjoyable and such a great humbling experience. Digging through everything was also fun to try to find out what's great, and I'm sure a lot of you in the comments are going to have additional ideas and ways of a meta that works really well for you, and I'm excited to try those out as well. If you want to see more of me trudging through different games and finding the meta out, make sure to check me out here by subscribing, and then also over on Twitch TV as iCoastin. And then for further ship combat for Star Citizen to learn and like progress more in that community, check out Avenger 1 both on YouTube and Twitch. I'll have a link down below for him, and my really good buddy Moist Noodle for more laid back PvP in the verse. And he's also on YouTube and Twitch with the links down below. Now with those two out of the way, God, I love having you here. So make sure to subscribe so we can conquer the meta in many more games and many more years. Thanks guys for being here. I'm going to have to leave you with love. Peace.